Good morning and welcome to another episode of Talk of the County. I am your host, Daniel Hopkins, and I'm joined by Sean Baker from Forest Green. Good morning, Sean.
Morning, boys.
Dave Angel from Gloucester City.
Morning, gents.
Morning. And Chris House, Cheltenham Town fan again, here to back me up with these two because I'm not strong enough. Morning, Chris.
Morning, everyone.
But we must give a special hello to not people listening in the UK. We have had listeners from Spain, the United States, the Netherlands, India, and this morning, the United Arab Emirates. So we have gone fully international, guys, along with the USA. What's your thoughts on that?
I hope you're not expecting me to learn another language and do a podcast in about 8 different languages.
That's your homework, guys, for the next weeks.
It's amazing, isn't it, how you pick up fans from other teams and we found from other countries, and we found it tends to be related to people playing computer games.
Yes.
Because the Football Manager or whatever it is, and because we were called the Tigers, it just we've got like a sports club in Turkey and all sorts. It's
I think as well, I think there's a lot of expats who support Forest Green, like you, Cheltenham. I know you said, Dave, you got that guy in the USA. I think you, Cheltenham, we got a couple of fans who are in the USA as well. So
yeah.
No, and just probably people accidentally like coming across our pod and probably listen to the first 5 minutes, going, "Ain't having any of that," and turning it off. I expect.
No, Heath from North Carolina was quite a funny one. How he got involved, because it was me having a go at him because he's got a Villa badge on his Twitter, and he said something about having a gun, and I just called him an idiot, and because I assumed he was in Birmingham, and he said, "Well, where I live, everybody's got guns," and I was like, I just was absolutely shocked, and it turned out he actually lived on a farm in North Carolina, and we got chatting, and now he's a top fan who gets involved in loads of stuff. So
good stuff. Right, so we'll crack on. Last week was very positive for all the county side. It's not so positive this week, but we'll start off with the most positive, and that's Forest Green. They had a 1-1 draw yesterday, Sean, at home to Scunthorpe. A lot of people would say that Scunthorpe, a draw against Scunthorpe you would probably take before kickoff because they're a decent side. Listening to Robbie Savage's thoughts, he seemed a bit more agitated than he has so far this season. But before we go into Robbie's thoughts, what was your thoughts on the game, Sean? How did the game pan
out? To be fair, Scunthorpe were much better to start with. I thought they looked really, really good for probably the first 20 minutes. Even after that, I don't think they looked bad. They were doing a lot of time wasting. They had a lot of players going down, just breaking up the game. We couldn't really get into it, sort of wreck the game a little bit, because I think it would have been a good game. Well, better, should I say? I still don't think it was bad. I mean, both keepers made some good saves. I think a draw, in hindsight, was probably a fair result. Obviously, Forest Green tweeted the stats afterwards, and we had a lot more shots and chances and things like that. I mean, yeah, I'd say a draw was a fair result, but we just couldn't quite, I don't know, get into the sort of rhythm that we normally get into. I don't think anyone really stood out, like grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, as they say. Whitwell, I thought, done really well when he was on the ball and running with the ball. I think his final pass was a little bit off yesterday. Mendy, I thought, done really well. Again, he got dropped back into like a back three. Again, he was pretty good when he got dropped back there. Luke McNicholas, our keeper, was probably one of our better players as well. Made 2 in the second half. Obviously, we was pushing for a goal because we didn't score till really late, so we was pushing for goals, and he made like 2 1-on-1 saves, which, you know, he'd done that up at Halifax as well. I think he might keep hold of the ball sometimes. You don't release it quick enough, if you'd like, but saving wise, he's saved a fair bit. But yeah, it was a good game. I liked Scunthorpe. I thought they, good players, good team. They just done a bit too much time wasting.
Do you think that's a natural thing, though? Like, it don't matter how big the sides are. You see it in the Premier League. You see Arsenal at the moment, Arsenal got fantastic players, and they go to some of the big teams. They get a 1-0, take a 1-0 lead, and the people moan about how Arsenal go defensive. But that's going to be natural all through the division. So, Scunthorpe probably got, the best start for them after 2 minutes. For teams like Forest Green, who like to be on the front foot, would then have to then probably play 90 odd minutes of that low block. Was that the case yesterday?
Well, yeah, I mean, it got a little bit like that, yeah. But I mean, they still, I just think when the way they started in the first 20 minutes, if they kept that going, I think we would have known about it. But yeah, I mean, they just, I don't know, it was frustrating, but we did get, I think, yeah, they did sit a little bit deeper. And like you said, like when they score so early, I think it's just like a natural thing to, because like you said, they know what Forest Green are going to do. So I think it's kind of like automatic, but they were spreading the ball around really nicely. I would like, and their keeper I thought was really good because the surface was quite obviously wet yesterday, and when you hit a shot and it skims off the grass, he just kept hold of everything, like nothing really bobbled out until the 98th minute when he did just let one pop out of his hands.
Yeah. But Robbie Savage in his post-match thoughts, like I said, he just seemed a bit more agitated than he has. But that's that's natural. You're used to winning, and I think because it was an home game. But one thing he did touch on was poor decision making in the final third. He seemed very agitated about that.
Yeah, I think in the final third we didn't really have much composure. It was we had quite a few chances. We were having shots, but sometimes it's like you're watching the game and you think there's times when they should hit it and there's times when they should try and pass it. And I think yesterday, a lot of them, they were doing the opposite to probably what we thought. Like, from sitting on the sideline, you look and you should be like, oh, I hit that. And they pass it. And then other times when they've probably got a bit of a better pass on, they're probably trying to hit them when they shouldn't be. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough one. Like, obviously, like I said, their keeper pulled off some good saves. Our keeper pulled off some good saves. Both teams did sort of look good at points. But yeah, we just weren't at our fluent best. And then I think we got what we deserved in the end, which was a draw. But we could have easily nicked it, but not nicked it. But if we had won it, probably didn't deserve to. It'd have been a bit of a smash and grab.
Robbie does say that. He says that, he feels a draw was probably the fair result. He did say that Scunthorpe will feel disappointed because they had two chances at 1-0 up, where your goalkeeper pulled off two really good saves, but he said that was because we was going for the equaliser.
Yeah,
But the one thing he did say, Sean, was defending. He was frustrated about defending. He said the goal from Declan Howe, and I watched it back myself. He said, it's people losing their runners. He said he just pulls off and has a simple header. What's your thoughts on that?
To be fair, I haven't seen the replay, and from where I was sat yesterday, I wasn't paying that much attention because, like, at that point, I wasn't because the game had literally just started. I can't remember if I was looking at my phone or I was just settling down because I had the kids and that with me. But yeah, it all happened pretty quick, so I haven't really seen it back. I need to see it back, really.
Okay. And again, just finishing on Robbie's comments, he said when he was asked, does he feel this was a point gained or a point lost? A lot of managers at home, they always tend to feel it's a point lost, but he did turn around and say, because it was so late on, he said, it's a point gain for Forest Green and it's 6 wins and 3 draws in your only 9 games.
I'd agree with that. Like I said, against Braintree and Solihull, I think he was saying that he feels they would, that was probably 2 points dropped. But yesterday, I think it was definitely a point gain because we was almost about to lose the game. Though I think there was only 7 minutes added on. We scored in the 98th, but yeah, I mean, I thought 7 was a bit generous because they were doing a lot. The keeper sat down. I mean, what I did like to see though was the referee was controlling when it's the 8 seconds when they have it in their hand. He was controlling that quite well. Obviously, when they do the 5-second countdown after, he puts his hand up and you see his fingers going down. And there was one point where they tried to time waste. Two of their players went down on the edge of their box and the keeper obviously had the ball in his hands and the referee was telling him he's got to carry on. And he was literally running out of time, so he literally had to lob it out the side for a throw because he was just about to, otherwise it was going to be a corner. So it's nice to see referees implementing that.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was surprised to hear yesterday from Robbie, and again, it shows that he's very honest in his post match, and he's not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, and it's probably a way of getting the best out of his players. But he did question the desire to get on the end of things. He said, he said we had 19 shots on goal. He said, or it was like a cross, and it was just that desire to put your head in and get your head on it, or like lunge at it. And I find that quite surprising.
Yeah, and I think the other thing was like corners. Oh, like even at youth football, when I go to like my boys' games and that, I'm always telling my boys to run round at the back post. Yesterday, I don't know, I couldn't tell you how many times it happened, but when balls just go all the way through, there's nothing more frustrating than not having anyone at the back post just to knock it back across. Just goes out for a throw into them then. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to say, oh, we need another striker, but we could really do with like a Regan Linney or a Ollie Pearce. I like Mitchell. He's like not a bad player, and like Cardwell, we've never really seen the best of him since we signed him from Southend. But I think an actual goal scorer is what we're missing. Doidge is obviously injured. I think the last one we had was Matty Stevens.
Yeah, because Mitchell came from Rochdale, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He scored 20 goals, but then Cardwell scored 18 for Southend. But, Cardwell, we've never seen the best of him. Even yesterday, he come on. I haven't seen it back. Thought he should have had a penalty. I'm not sure if he got a touch on it. It looked like he did. It looked like he got a touch on it and the keeper swiped him out. But again, from where I'm sat, I couldn't tell you 100% whether it was or not. But yeah, we could, like I said, it's frustrating because I see teams like York and Carlisle with these strikers, and I'm just like, we just need someone who just consistently gets a goal.
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of Rochdale fans in pre-season. Funny enough, they rocked up at Cheltenham and Swansea, and they was talking about Mitchell, and he said, "Oh, he's come down to your part of the county," and they said it's really weird because I find it really odd when somebody can put the ball in the net, but then get questioned about their general play, and that's what he said. He said because he's in the right place at the right time, he scores goals, but his general play is questionable. Is that fair?
I think with the goal scoring, yeah, but I think he holds a ball up and that all right. I mean, yesterday he struggled a little bit, but in general, I think he's done all right. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I saw a lot of Rochdale fans saying that he had a bad attitude. Obviously, we haven't seen that yet. I mean, he looked okay. He's been all right since he's come in. He talks well, and he seems, he don't. I wouldn't say he throws his toys at the pram when he gets taken off or anything like that. But I don't know if he's ever gonna. I don't know if he's ever gonna be like a 20, 25 goal man that we want.
But if he was scoring goals in a good Rochdale team last season, it shows that he can score goals. And you say about there's rumours about bad attitudes and all that. I get the feeling, from our chat with Robbie on Friday, which we'll talk about shortly. I don't think Robbie's the kind of manager who would stand for that. As good as he is as being a people person, I think he would also pull someone aside and go, hey, because he mentioned a lot on Friday
I agree.
About the team, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I don't want to go back into the chat and that at the moment, but I think he made it pretty clear, what he's like, how he sees things. I don't think a player wouldn't get away with that. But like I said, we haven't that come from Rochdale fans is hard. I never watched him really at Rochdale. I don't know, I couldn't really tell you. They were all, like, I was reading through their comments when we signed him, and they were saying like, well done on being like the first 20-goal season striker to be released and things like that. So, like I said, I never seen him at Rochdale, but I don't mind him. I like him. I think he worked well, but I think we need somebody maybe next to him.
Yeah. And that could be Christian Doidge when he's back fit.
Yeah, I mean, like, Doidge, he always just seems to come on and score goals. That's just what he's always done. And even, he's getting on a bit, but he still does it.
Yeah.
So I think we do miss him when he ain't there.
Well, it's another game unbeaten, Sean. Despite it being a draw. And again from the outside, we get Chris and we get Dave's view on this as well. A sign of a side who's going to be in around it at the end of the season is a side that win or get a late goal when probably haven't been at their best. Like Forest Green this season, there is a trend with Forest Green, and you had a 94th minute winner against Eastleigh, Scunthorpe yesterday 98th minute, Yeovil you took the lead in the 75th and put the game to bed in the 92nd, and even Halifax, the second goal at Halifax was the 77th minute. So there is a trend with Forest Green that, maybe that, you've talked a lot about and being relentless and, total football. And Robbie's said that in his interviews. It seems to pay dividends towards the end of the game, and you're getting those late goals.
I think fitness can come into it a lot there, can't it? I think that's a sign of a very fit side.
Yeah, I think he's made it clear that he wants to be the fittest team in the league. He trains them hard. He wants them to be fit. He wants them to keep going, and I think that's a sign, that teams get a little bit tired, and Forest Green just do keep going, and then they end up normally getting a goal late, in the last sort of 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's good, but I would like to start trying to win some more comfortably again, a bit like Sutton.
But it's like you said, I was driving back from Crawley yesterday, and I had TalkSport on, and one thing TalkSport do very well is they go through all the grounds. That they literally go from Premier League down to National League, and obviously when it come through as a 98th minute, I kind of smiled to myself. I was like, oh, but then I kind of smiled because I said that's what you do. I know Chris put in our group chat that good to start for Forest Green and what have you, but I wasn't surprised, Sean. It didn't surprise me you scored late because that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, that late, I was a little bit. I thought we'd missed our chance, and then we literally got like a free kick right around the edge of the box, and obviously Robbie sent the goalkeeper up and everything, and I was just like, oh, let's just go. And it actually went in towards the goalkeeper. Then I'm not sure if he got the nod down or what. It looked pretty close to getting it, but yeah, just sort of like. Just bobbled around the box a little bit. Keeper, like I said, keeper managed to stretch up, reach it, but he didn't quite keep hold of it. It dropped out, and then we had a new young lad, Balagizzi, I think his name is, or something.
James Finger.
And that was his first. His debut, and yeah, he got a goal.
My first reaction when I watched the goal back was, why the hell didn't the goalkeeper punch the ball?
Maybe, to be fair, he had a really good game.
Get it out of the danger area, because he just he couldn't quite. He didn't have enough to be able to get it. But if he'd have punched it, I think it would have got it out of the box. I mean, they probably would have survived it.
He had a really good game. Like, that was probably the only time. That was the only moment in the game where it didn't stick to him. Every shot,
life of a goalkeeper, right?
Yeah, every shot he just kept hold of it. Nothing spilt out to any of our players. It was, and he pulled off some good saves. I mean, we had some good, I think there was one in the first half. I think it was Nick Orton who just done this cheeky little, like, it was almost like a chip, and it was bending straight into the top corner, and I thought it was in, and he somehow like tipped it over and things like that. I mean, he was solid all game, but yeah, it was just that one moment. So thankfully he didn't keep hold of it, and he did spill it a little bit, and we stay unbeaten. That was the main thing, I think. When it got so late, you're just happy just to remain unbeaten, I think.
Well, what's your just staying on Balagizzi? What's your thoughts on him, Sean? He's only made 2 appearances for yourself. on loan from Liverpool. He's had a couple of senior career loans. He's been at Crawley, Wigan, Kilmarnock, and now he's at Forest Green. He's scored 2 previous goals for Crawley in 14 appearances. That's his first goal since Wigan and Kilmarnock loan. So, did you see that he could be the answer for Forest Green?
Little bit.
When I say
it's
that,
a little bit too early to tell because I only see he only come on for like the last 10 minutes. I mean, it was like what we were just saying about Cairo Mitchell. He was in the right place at the right time. The ball spilled out to him, and he just knocked it in. Yeah, it's a little bit too hard to tell because I've only seen that one appearance from him, which was literally like 9-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Chris, what was your thoughts on when you seen the 98th minute equaliser come in?
I knew that Sean would have a field day in the group chat. I know that for a fact. Look, 20 shots on goal. I don't know what that looks like, to be fair. But we'll move on to Cheltenham later. But it's desire. I watched their goal back. Yes, the keeper's going to want that back. Definitely. But it was the desire. There were 3 or 4 bodies throwing themselves towards the ball to get it over the line. And look, by the sounds of it, it was deserved. And fair play to them. They kept going to the end.
What about yourself, Dave?
You just always expect either Cheltenham or Forest Green to always score a late goal. But to be honest, I didn't see that one until I got home because my bottom lip was so far dragging in the dust as I was making my way back to the car that my mind wasn't anywhere else apart from getting home to my sofa and sulking. But yeah, it's it is a sign. It's a sign of a team who are gonna be up there, isn't it? When those sides who can. Man United, Liverpool did it for a lot of years when they always seem to be able to get something in the death.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it is a sign of champions. And let's hope you're not, Sean, but it is a sign. Before we move on to the Robbie Savage chat, Marquez Alvechurch scored a hat-trick yesterday, Sean, on loan from you guys.
I did see that. He's been on fire, mate. I think every week or every game I'm opening up Twitter and there's a Marquez goal.
Is that the lad who was at Hungerford?
I think so. He was.
Yeah, he was on loan at Hungerford last season.
Yeah, I think he went on Hungerford.
Yeah, he looked pretty decent actually. I was kind of thinking we might pick him up on loan.
But I can't remember the Forest Green fan I was talking to, and it was back last year, and it wasn't you, Sean, for a change. And they mentioned him, and they said that I'll keep an eye on Jose Marquez because he is going to be a player. And like I said, I think he did go out on loan to Hungerford. I'm just trying to find his stats now. But do you think he's someone who can come back and make an impact on the first team, Sean?
Definitely. I mean, I thought he was going to get a bit of a chance this season. Obviously, he was on the bench and that a few times before he went on loan. Obviously, Robbie spoke about, the youth team and bringing players through the academy and things like that. So I thought he was going to get a bit of a look in with us, and then I can't remember what game it was. I can't remember what game it was. It was before someone said that he'd scored like an overhead kick in one of our games this season. And then I think it turned out to be someone else's goal, but someone was like, "Oh, that's what it looked like." I can't remember what game that was now. But yeah, I mean, he's gone out on loan. Does good players. It does players a bit of good, doesn't it? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens when he does come back.
Yeah, Swindon Supermarini had a loan spell out. I can't find anything on Hungerford, but I'm pretty sure I saw him at Hungerford, Dave.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was.
But one to watch out then, Sean. He's doing well. Right, let's move on to the last part, which was on Friday, myself and Sean. Sean dropped it on me very, very late. I was driving back from Where was I? Where was I?
We don't care, Dan. Really.
Yeah, I was somewhere. I was somewhere in the country. Thruxton I was at. I was on a works course, and Sean messages me and goes, "Just had Robbie Savage on the message. He can be on for 7 o'clock tonight." And I was like, man, I was just approaching Birdlip, and it was about 10 to 6. There's done no prep or anything. So yeah, 6:45 we actually got him on. Very, very last minute. I must say, what a guy. You know, as you can quite imagine, like, this is quite a new pod. You know, it's easy talking to you guys, but talking to an ex-Premier League player, you know, with the career he's had. But what Robbie did do, he took the floor. We asked a question, he gave a 10, 15-minute answer and by giving those answers, he kind of like generated questions from those answers, which was really good. Sean was like a little boy at Christmas. His eyes were a light on the screen. But it was good, Sean, wasn't it? What was your thoughts on the interview?
Oh, mate, I was completely blown away by it, and obviously, I just think, obviously, from the start of that pod, he obviously called me out on the chat about not being keen on him coming to Forest Green. But I just wanted to try and clear that up a little bit. Obviously, as you mentioned, Dan, obviously we had like Troy Deeney, Duncan Ferguson and things like that. So I think through no fault of his own, a lot of fans had obviously thought that was more of a PR thing again. But like I said, I done that tweet without really thinking or looking into anything. And then the more I was looking into like Macclesfield and their goals scored and, you know, how attacking they were and things like that, I was kind of like speaking to a lot of fans, and I was just like, you know, just give him a chance. I mean, obviously it's still really early on in the season. He's had a really good start, but when you listen to someone talking, and I don't know what you thought, but he come across, he's like, he's a grafter. He started at the bottom, and he said that. He said, oh, you know, he started at the bottom. He's always gone to try and prove people wrong. You know, like I said, I was reading something about he was getting up early and coaching like under 13s teams. Like, he's dedicated to. He's a dedicated professional. Like he said in the thing, like, even as a player, you know, he didn't really drink or party and things like that. He always wanted to be the best he can be, and you get that feeling with him being a manager. And I just think, like I said, everyone's going, oh, you know, he's doing things because dancing with the crowd because he wants to make it all about him and he wants to do this, but he isn't. Like, I think I said it before in one of our first podcasts away at Morecambe. He went round and he clapped the Morecambe fans because, you know, he helped Macclesfield get a club back and get it back up. Morecambe, as we know, were like seconds away from, you know, losing their club, and he knows exactly what that is. And when he went round, you know, it wasn't going on video that he was going around clapping the Morecambe fans for sticking by their club and being with them. He just gets it. He understands it. He knows what clubs are about, and he knows, you know, that getting everybody together and fighting in the same way is it's only going to bring success on and off the pitch. And for me, he just gets it, and it was good to hear him just talk like, you know, he's one of them people where he knows that much about football. He's got that much knowledge. Just the way he talks, I've had quite a few fans message me and just say how good that interview, like that podcast was with him. Like, just because of how well he spoke.
Yeah, lovely little memory for you to hold on to when he goes to a championship club at Christmas.
This is what the thing is, though, that's like, I've never been one. I was obviously bitter when Rob Edwards left. It was in the manner that he left. Like, he had a really good season. He won League Two. He seemed to have a good relationship with Dale. You know, he'd done like our retained and release list. And then the next day he just jumped ship, and like, Dale had no clue about it at all. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's just really disrespectful. I think with Robbie, you know, he's obviously got I don't know what contract Rob Edwards was on, but with Robbie, I think he said he's got 4 years. I think he said it on Friday night. He's got a much better relationship with Dale, I think, but purely just from where we had his son on loan. They just get on really well. I think he's got a bit more respect about him. Obviously, if he moves on, he moves on. That, you can't do anything about that. Like, that is football. It's in the manner that they move on, which, with Robbie, I wouldn't begrudge him a move if someone bigger come in for him. I just don't want him to go yet.
Cheltenham got a position coming up soon.
I was going to say Cheltenham will definitely be looking for a new manager soon.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on the interview? Did you have a listen, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, look, for someone as well known as him to give up an hour of his time is absolutely incredible. First and foremost, and on Friday he did about, I think, 5 or 6 interviews with different media publications, and I look, I think it's great. Communication is massive in football, and unfortunately, and Sean, I'm going to do Dan's job here and bring it back to Cheltenham again. But
Not Gloucester yet.
I don't know what it feels like to have good communication. It's been a long time, but that is good communication from someone right at the top of a club. He came across brilliantly, really well, and yeah, it was great. Really good of him to give us so much time, because I think we would have been happy with 15 minutes, but he gave us an hour of his time, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
Did you have to be fair to him? Sorry,
sure.
Dan. Yeah, to be fair to him as well, he said at the end of the interview, didn't he? He's like, if there's anything I can do,
Yeah.
He's retweeting and things like that.
Yeah, he definitely. That's the bit I took from it. I thought it was really class when we thanked him for coming on, and he was like, "I know what it's like to get started, and I know these things. It needs listeners, it needs people to help you push it on." And what I will say is that the tweet we've put out with that pod has had almost 150,000 impressions on it in just over 24 hours, which tells you get the right people trying to help you. Is unbelievable, because had that not been Robbie Savage, what I'll say is our average so far on the 2 pods we've had have been 15 to 17,000, which is brilliant. Still great to have those sort of impressions on your page, but 150,000 in it, and literally every time I go on it, it's like an electric monitor. It's just like going around. It's just going up and up and up, which is great. Did you have a chance to listen, Dave?
No.
Shame on you.
It's bad enough doing a podcast with Cheltenham and Forest Green fans without listening to one just about Forest Green, to be honest. No, I will have a listen, but I haven't got around to it yet.
Brilliant. The one thing I will take from it, and I'll put out there, is Robbie did say on the tweet on the pod that some people might think I'm unprofessional because I jump in with the crowd and I do this. I put it on our own Twitter page that quoted that, and that's not unprofessional. It's
passion, doesn't it?
It's passion, and what it says to me is, this is a guy who's played over 300 odd Premier League appearances. Like he said, captain 4 Premier League teams. He's still involved with TNT, does Champions League nights and what have you. He still does 606 for the BBC. Robbie Savage is a big name, and for him to be doing that with fans, maybe the Premier League managers need to look at Robbie Savage and go, do you know what? That's what we should be doing. I'm not saying jump in with the crowd, but get over there with the crowd after a game. Enjoy it. Like Robbie Savage said, he basically said, you're getting hammered every week when you lose, so why not enjoy it when you win? And I'm totally for it, and I think like I said again, we know now that Robbie does listen to our pod. So as if people says to us walking down the street, "Who listens to your pod?" The Robbie Savage, mate. So yeah, we'll end there on Forest Green. But again, thanks for Robbie for coming on. Very hard to say, but all the best. Let's move on to Gloucester City.
Here we go.
Disappointing 2-1 defeat for you yesterday, Dave. Chance of a cup run.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the game? How did it pan out?
Scored reasonably early. Looked totally in control. They always looked. They got that one Joe Smith up front as a big unit. Always looked a bit dangerous, but we had nearly all the possession, controlled the game. They pinched the goal late, and you think, oh God, Chippenham it is on Tuesday night, but then from then on, there only looked like there was one win, and we had the ball almost 100% of the time after they equalised. Fashioned not really great chances, but we had the ball around and about the box and just couldn't score. And then they got the very late winner. Walked out absolutely gutted. You kind of expect it as a Gloucester City fan to not have a good FA Cup run. We just not something we do for some reason. It's got to be our year, 1 year. We've got players who've done it. I mean, Hanksy was there yesterday. With Chippenham fans absolutely still love him. They were singing songs about our captain. But yeah, he scored the winner against Lincoln, didn't he, in the FA Cup for them. So we've got players who've been there and done it in the later rounds of the FA Cup, but it just never seems to happen for us. Gutted initially, but the cold light of day. Do I want later on in the season to be in the trophy and the FA Cup? Well, probably not the FA Cup later, but have had a backlog of games and then end up in a position where we've got 4, 5, 6 games in hand, which always looks nice on the table, doesn't it? But how often have we seen that, those 6 games in hand, when you do your little maths and you times the games in hand by 3 and think, oh, when we win those, we'll be in this position. But how often do you see it that you don't win the games in hand? And old saying, the points in the bag are worth far more. So part of me, although disappointed, it's not even our main ambition this season. It's our only ambition is to get out of the Southern League and back to the National League, where I think we belong after 15 years in there, and we need to push the club on. And the only way we can do that is to go up. So in hindsight, disappointed, but I'd rather lose that game than lose Weymouth next week, to be honest.
Yeah.
The 3 points in the league are far more important.
You mentioned about cup runs, and I've got it in front of me.
You're going to start talking about a Cheltenham Cup run now, Ian?
No, Cheltenham's right at the end. Obviously, since you played Leyton Orient in 2012, 2013, so obviously that was in the first round proper. The season after you got to the first round proper and played Fleetwood, then you played Forest Green in 14, 15.
Yeah. Big Sam Parkin.
Yes, that was in the fourth qualifying round. Then from then it's been fourth qualifying against Staines, 16, 17 third qualifying, 17, 18 second qualifying. Then you had a fourth qualifying round against Bromley. Then 19, 20 third qualifying, second qualifying, third qualifying. Third qualifying, second qualifying, and yesterday was obviously second qualifying round. I get what you're saying. Obviously, the priority for Gloucester City is to get out of the Southern League, get back into the National League North. But what a cup run can do is generate interest within the town, the city, and
without doubt, and also generate much needed revenue. I'm sure, as a fan, my priorities, although Colin, the chairman, I'm sure his priority is promotion as well. He's the man who has to pay the bills, who sees the bank, and a cup run would have been massive. I mean, it was like $4,000 yesterday, almost 3.7, 3.8. Yeah, it's really disappointing, but it's one of those, isn't it? I've got a bit reputation of being the odd bloke who manages to see the silver lining of the biggest, darkest cloud, and I get mocked for it. But
it's justified because what you said is right. You do see a lot.
Yeah, it is. Would it be nice to have both? But if it's going to be one of them, I know what I'd choose.
Yeah, and it's just obviously, like I said, what it generates for Gloucester City in terms of the city fan. You're back home now. You haven't had a cup run since you've been back home.
No.
Meadow Park, I would imagine, you'd be almost selling out if you got to.
Oh, you would. Without a doubt, if you got the league club, you'd sell out Meadow Park. I mean, we've had late 2000 plus. You can get 4,000 in there, I think now. So yeah, I've got no doubt if we played a league club in the FA Cup, then we'd sell it out. But
if it makes,
we're not going to find out this season.
Cup runs are overrated, mate. Don't worry about it.
well, to be fair, we haven't had one since Man City.
Not a bad one to finish on, though, is it? To be fair,
no, it's not. It's not. Even though it's COVID to be
I
uncloned.
was going to say it's a shame there was no one there.
Yeah, that's it. So Daft Williams after the game, he again, so we talk about Rob Savage, but he seemed very frustrated. He said massive opportunity missed. He said the first half was very even. The second half they were the better side until then they equalised. He said then Gloucester got on the front foot. He said missed two absolutely.
Yeah, there was one in particular. Ball came across in from the right wing, sort of slightly cut back, and our centre back Ben Morgan sort of had a header at the back post ish, and he just put it over, and it was one of those that you're just waiting for the net to bulge, but it didn't happen. So nothing's going to change it now. So you just move on, don't you? Just move on to next week, and I'm sure that's what the way Dav will be looking at it. All about Weymouth on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll get on to that one later. He did also say that he mentioned about the poor goals conceded. What was the goals like, Dave?
Both long balls into the box. Just pumped into the box. And for the first one, I'm not too sure about the second one. I didn't get quite as good view of it because I was nestled right at the back of the TN. But first one, I had a good view, and it was just Wanjo Smith just out-muscled the centre back 6 yards out in the middle and just headed it with power. Keeper got sort of a hand to it, pushed it into the roof of the net. We're missing, I think, although I rate Ben Morgan and Michael O'Regan, who we've got at centre back at the moment, really highly. I think there's no doubt we're missing Ben Richards-Everton at the moment.
Yeah,
you kind of see if he'd been in that 6 yard area with his 6'5" of solid muscle, I don't think there's a fair chance he'd have stopped one of them going in, but he wasn't there and he didn't. So,
but it was obviously Ed Williams was suspended for the game. A bigger miss was he?
Yeah, we do miss Ed. We do miss Ed. He's just so dependable in the middle there. He creates and breaks up. He's an excellent player, and thankfully he'll be back. Should be back for Saturday.
Yeah,
But we do miss him when he's not there. Although it was good to see Aaron Wildig came on for the last few minutes. Didn't really get to see much of him, but he really should be our absolute marquee signing this season, and that's the first minutes he's played because he did his ACL last season for Newport. Was offered another contract by Newport as club captain in League Two, and due to family and business reasons decided he wanted to go part-time, and we got him due to his links with DAF, so he could be a massive player for us moving on forward in the season. I can't wait to see him play and see what he can do, really, because dropping down 3 levels, he should be a class apart, but we will see. We will see.
Yeah. And it was a 95th minute goal, and it just got me thinking that at the time of your jaw at the floor, Sean was getting his backside up off the seats because Forest Green would have been equalising. So
what a lovely thought that is.
What was your thought?
I can do without thinking about Sean's backside at this time on a Sunday morning. I've just had a bacon sandwich.
What was your thoughts, Chris, on the late goal for Gloucester?
I didn't have a lot to celebrate yesterday, but that was certainly something. I put in the group chat, they've done a Rushton. That's a bit unfair because it wasn't that late, but the equaliser was a bit earlier. But look, it's unfortunate. I got 2 scores right in the predictions last week, but they were the wrong way round. So it's unfortunate. Would I have liked to see Gloucester progress? No. But it was unfortunate for them. But the league's got to be the priority, as Dave said.
Yeah, definitely. Your thoughts, Sean?
What's that? Sorry.
Your thoughts on
I thought he'd gone to sleep then.
No, I was looking at the predictions from last week.
Because you can run through them after.
To be fair, I didn't even really see anything yesterday other than someone put on our chat that Gloucester had lost it in the last minute or something. So I did think about Dave, but
thanks, Sean.
Well, no, but I knew you were there, and it is shit. But like you said, sometimes
football, isn't it? That's football.
Yeah, obviously, I know you said, Dave, that going out of the cup is probably a good thing in terms of the league thing, but How does it affect the club financially? You know, do Gloucester budget for these things? I know, like the Cheltenham always talk about where they have their budget for the season. Any cut revenue?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Colin is astute enough to not include any cup run in his financial calculations, especially with our record in cups. But yeah, I could imagine any cup run would have been a very welcome and pleasant bonus. But he runs a tight ship. He's not frivolous, like some previous chairman we've had. And so I really feel your club couldn't be in better hands on financial ways. I mean, I'm sure things are always tight. They are at most clubs, aren't they? But yeah, it's we've got the right man in charge.
Good stuff. And just to finish on Gloucester, Dave, overall thoughts on yesterday? Was it a fair result? Do you think Chippenham deserved it?
Honestly, no. No, I think if anything, a draw leaning towards us deserving to win. But it's all about putting the ball in the back of the net, and they did it twice, and we did it once. So out of the cup it is.
And did you, just one more? Did you say that the National Leagues come in? They come in the fourth qualifying, don't they? Like Forest.
Yeah. It's I think it's the National League now, North and South again next round, and then the Forest Green come in the round after.
So you couldn't, you non-league clubs wouldn't, and not going to play each other anytime soon. Then, so
no. Well, the FA Trophy is an option, isn't it?
It is. I go to the non-league finals day religiously every year, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Forest Green get there, so I can have a bit of passion supporting the other team.
To be fair, Dan, mate, if you keep going religiously, you could be going next year with Cheltenham.
Can't argue with that, mate.
If you carry your run going.
It'd be a good final. Right, let's move on to the even more depressing Cheltenham town.
I don't find it depressing at all, to be honest.
That's why I have Chris on, so someone can share my 2-0 defeat to Crawley yesterday. It was an early kick-off because of obviously Sky. Some of the fans made their thoughts on that. Actually quite an easy drive. I left home at 8:10, got to Crawley, parked up about 20 to 11, which was quite easy. But yes, it was less than desirable. I would say that I'm going to pass it over to Chris, because Chris could probably sum it up a bit better than I am, because I'm still reeling from it. What was your thoughts on yesterday's game, Chris?
Look, I made a point last week on the referee, but it was back to normal service with the referees.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I thought he was terrible. On that, it didn't affect the result because we were never going to win. But the ref was awful. First half possession, Crawley had 68% possession, which is ridiculous at any level of football. What was noticeable to me from the start was we appeared to have a slightly different shape, particularly in midfield. There was no obvious number 10. It was more of a flat 3 opposed to a 2 and a 1 or a 1 and a 2, which meant that whilst Liango did well in holding the ball up, there was no one there for him, no support whatsoever. Aside from the one chance that Liango had where his touch was a little bit heavy, and the keeper managed to get back, we never looked like threatening at all. The press that I said was better last week was absolutely non-existent. Letting the keeper run almost to the halfway line with no one around him, no pressure at all, is ridiculous. Again, at any level of football. We could have been 3-0 down at half-time, in my opinion. The one that hit the bar and came down, I thought could have been over the line. I don't know what you saw from your angle. You had a great angle.
Were you there, Chris?
I wasn't. I've done a bit of damage to my ankle, so
Oh yeah,
unfortunately,
I've seen the photos.
yeah. So unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I watched it on Sky. But Dan, it looked close to me. But
it hit the bar. It was close, but obviously I stood right behind the goal. It came down as it hit the bar. It came down and sort of, I would say, it was touching the pitch side of the white line, if you know what I mean, and it bounced down. You can always tell by the way the ball bounces because it comes back off the bar rather than comes down in and out. But it was definitely close.
Yeah, I mean, from the TV, it looked like it was slightly the other side of the line, but yeah, no. On that, by the way, how on earth does a player have time to chest the ball down from a cross and then fire it off? The defending was. We've looked more solid recently, but we did not look solid at all, in my opinion. Yesterday. I'm trying to find positives from the game, and I'm really struggling. The one positive I had was Josh Martin when he came off the bench. He was the player that looked positive. He had a couple of shots on goal. His first one I thought was unlucky. It was a good save by the keeper. The second one was more of a routine save for the keeper, in my opinion. But yeah, we don't close crosses down. And if you don't close crosses down, they're going to come in the box. And we can't defend crosses. So we're just asking for trouble. Crawley's movement, we made them look like prime Barcelona. Because there was no pressing in any way, shape, or form yesterday. And it was really, really, it was horrible to watch. Michael Flynn, we've spoken about Michael Flynn in the last pod, but he's got to do better with the players that he's got. We haven't got a bottom of the league team on paper. We've got some really good, experienced players. James Wilson, all right, yes, he didn't play yesterday. He's been out for a while, but he played every game in League One last year. Isaac Hutchinson, he was non-existent yesterday. I didn't even realise. If I didn't see the team sheet, I wouldn't have thought he was playing.
Yeah,
he was non-existent. Kinsella put himself about, but he did what Kinsella does. He puts himself about. He does it. He's not going to create a lot for you. We lacked any spark until Josh Martin came on, and it was really depressing.
Yeah, no, I concur. It was flat. It was, I look at Crawley's side, and Sean mentioned it last week. Some of the players they've got some decent players, but in terms of decent, I don't think that they're more decent than what Cheltenham have got. You go Gary McCurry, and there's Shaminga. They got Pit Pereira, players like that who are decent League Two players, but. We sat up. I thought first half, we say about we went in 0-0. They rattled the bar. They had the goal disallowed. It was a foul on Angel. The lad puts his arm in his face. But had that not been given and not seen by the referee, it was a good finish by Shaminga, and they could have been one that. But the biggest thing that was disappointed me first half was the fact you mentioned about the stop on the cross. It was more on set pieces. Time and time again, the Crawley centre-halves were pulling off Cheltenham on the back post, getting a free header, to the point where I was stood beyond the goal. I was literally shouting at the players, watch the ball to the back post. I don't know if there was, if obviously because it's on Sky Sports Plus, they don't have the microphones around the pitch. But had you had those microphones on the pitch, you would have just heard Dan Hopkins for almost 45 minutes going, watch the back post, and the ball was coming in, and guess what? He was pulling off, getting the header back across. So 0-0 half time. I take that. I think we had a couple of half chances where we should have shot or and what have you. But second half was diabolical. And in the point of, I say diabolical, we hardly created anything to those last 10 minutes when the game was gone. But my biggest disappointment of the day was at 0-0. Sam Sharing goes down and gets injured. He gets caught by the Crawley lad. Darragh Powers stripped, ready to come on. We decide that let's see how you do, but it was obvious that Sharing could hardly. He was struggling to move. So and Michael Flynn then takes Leanne Goal off, who was Cheltenham's best player on the day in terms of, nobody was good, but he was the best day of a poor bunch. He was holding the ball up. He was making the ball stick. I'll get on to Michael Flynn's interview in a minute, but Michael Flynn mentioned about Angol went to press the goalkeeper and the keeper hit it straight at Angol and it sort of like ricocheted off him. But in my opinion, at least he was trying to close them down, because for the whole of that 45 minutes, literally, Crawley were playing out from their goalkeeper. Their goalkeeper at times was on the edge of the centre circle and pinging the ball forward, and everybody was just in a rigid block, like going, right, I'm not going to move out of my position. Now, he made that sub, and within 5 minutes of that sub happening, ball drops to Harry McKirby in front of Sherring. Sherring couldn't move, gets turned, fires it bottom corner. And then he brings on Harry Powell and brings on Josh Martin, because then, straight after that to go positive again. So it tells me that he was trying to, go defensively. And then obviously the penalty, we also, I don't know, Sean or Dave, whoever you've seen it, but the penalty was unreal. It was diabolical. It was literally, the ball goes into the box. Freddie, his name,
Freddie Wilcox.
Wilcox, yeah. I was going to call him Freddie Krueger. Freddie Wilcox goes in with him, just literally shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, it is. It's a shoulder to shoulder. I don't even think their feet touch.
The referee tells Michael Flynn of giving it because he's clipped his ankles.
I don't think their feet touch.
They didn't even like put their hands up and shout and say penalty. Literally, we was all being the goal. Like, that's never a penalty. But I don't know, Sean, did you see it?
I haven't, to be fair. Obviously, I didn't even realise your game was an early kickoff.
I did when I was getting up at 6:15 on a Saturday morning. But yeah, it was never.
Has anyone put it on Twitter? Have they all?
It is on Twitter. If you, I think. That's why when I seen it back, I don't know whether it was if you go on the highlights and have a look on Sky Sports app, you'll see it. But it's never a penalty in this world. Like Chris said, it's not had a bearing on the result. We might have snatched a point. The first chance by Martin was a worldy save. I was right behind it. It was just he flicked his hand up and gets it over the bar. Brilliant. The second one, you'd be disappointed in the goalkeeper if he let that in, but he gets a shot. But all in all, there was the only positive from the game, in my opinion, was seeing Harry Powell back out on the pitch, coming on the bench.
It was great. It was great to see Harry. And the noticeable thing for me was when he came on, he was a 10, and he was just behind the front. Well, he was 1 at that point. But it was great to see him on the pitch. It's going to take him a while to get up to speed. He misplaced a few passes, like the one that he tried spraying across the middle that went straight to their player. But it will take him a little while to get up to speed. But fantastic to see him on the pitch and fully recovered from what was that injury has ended careers. It's great to see him back on the pitch after he's recovered from that ACL and then that little niggle afterwards.
Yeah. Moving on to Michael Flynn's interview. I don't know whether you listened to it, Chris. I thought he sounded beat. He seemed very snappy in the questions Mark was asking him to, and that's the first time. And he's had a lot of stick over the last few weeks, apart from obviously the last 2 games. But leading up to the Cardiff game, he was getting pelters. He had all that with his family, and he was calm in his replies. But something tells me yesterday that he knows that the next game's his last game if Cheltenham lose, because it was just the way he was snappy. And the one thing that I took out of his interview was he mentioned again, I'm not the one who goes over that white line. Now, in my opinion, when a manager starts saying that, because he did also say, we seemed flat. We've had a good week of training. I just don't know. We just didn't seem. We seemed flat. We seemed like we was disinterested. Blah blah blah. And like I said, him saying, it's not me who goes over the white line. That tells me that he's running out of ideas.
He looked to me. He looked a bit resigned. I think. I mean, the football that we're playing is frankly rubbish. But he looks resigned. He looks out of ideas. Are the players giving him 100%? Well, only the players can answer that. But I would be disappointed if I was their manager, put it that way. But he looks resigned. The words that he's using, I think, are they're deflective. They're trying to make him appear that he's trying to do everything that he possibly can. Look, I've got no doubt he is, but it's not working. And there does come a point, and I think that point is probably going to happen in the next 2 weeks if we don't get any results.
If he does
that's a
go,
good
who
finish
do you
by
think?
McCurdy, mind, innit?
That's the problem we've got, Dave. Who do we bring in?
Yeah,
I don't know.
certainly.
I'd like personally, and I mentioned this person last week, Adam Murray. I think he would be a good one to bring in.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally, I think that if he goes, I know the fans will all be scrambling, going Mike Duff, but Mike Duff's still got
It's
a
not
good.
gonna happen,
He's still got stock. He'd be looking at a top League One, club for his next move, in my opinion. That's not saying it won't happen, because funny things happen in football. He's worked with Mike Garlett before at Burnley, but that won't happen. Do you know who I would go for? And hey, Forest Green.
Robbie Savage.
Yeah, I spoke to Rob. He said he's just going to wait until Garlick puts his money in and then he's here, come and have a go. I would go for Steve Cottrell. The reason being, I wouldn't go for a long-term plan for Steve Cottrell, because I genuinely think that Steve Cottrell's football now is. I mean this, and I mean this respectively. Steve Cottrell's football is outdated. Football's changed a lot, but what Steve Cottrell will do, he would come in and make Cheltenham hard to beat and get enough points to make sure we don't drop. I was talking to somebody yesterday.
I thought that last season.
Yeah, well, football's outdated.
No, not last season, the season before. I thought he'd keep us up, but
he came in late though with you guys.
Yeah, he did.
But like I said, we're 8 games in, and I obviously would jump in the gun here, but I genuinely think that if we lose to Oldham next Saturday, he's definitely gone. He's definitely gone. I think he was given September. And if we lose to Oldham next Saturday, Flynn would be gone. But I just think if Steve Cottrell comes in, he would do enough for Cheltenham to get enough points, make us hard to beat. And you know what? I am one of these fans who cry and go, "Oh, I want ticky-tacky football. I want this." All I want on Saturday is Cheltenham to win. And if that means it's coming off the back end of George Miller 46 times in a season and we win 1-0, I'll take that. If you want to be entertained, go to the theatre. Football's about winning, and I don't care how we win as long as you're winning on a Saturday. But you can't take losing when you're putting the drivel that was on the pitch yesterday, because it was hard to watch, wasn't it, Chris?
No, it was really hard to watch. Really, really hard to watch. But yeah, look, I mean, I think Steve Cottrell has said that he wouldn't come back to Cheltenham. But the fans would like it, put it that way.
That was when he knew that there wasn't something there. I think he knows the restraints Cheltenham are under. I think that it might be a bit different now with Mike Garlick, knowing that he'll have a bigger budget to be able to try and do a job. I know he had a big budget at Forest Green, but we all know with Cheltenham have operated on a shoestring budget. It might be a bit different now, and they might just turn around to him and say, "Look, just come in, do the job." Until again, it's just wishful thinking. But people are talking about Brady, who was at Northampton. If Cheltenham go for him, then we will be playing National League football next season. I can tell you that now.
It is then.
You stay off the interview panel, Dave.
I think a lot of it depends on who is appointing the manager. Because at the moment it'll be Gary Johnson appointing the manager. My opinion is if Flynn goes, they've all got to go.
I agree.
And I include Aaron Downs in that as well. They've all got to go. But will that happen? I said last week, I don't think that Johnson will be leaving the club until the end of the season. And I stick by that. I don't think he will.
Where's his son at the moment?
A mistake. Whose son?
Where's Lee Johnson at the moment?
He's some foreign team.
He's foreign team, Belgium, I think.
Oh, right.
Dan, what did you make of Harry McCurdy's goal yesterday, the first one?
It was a really good finish. But
I thought it was an excellent touch. I was just watching the highlights. It was an excellent touch and finish.
It was a great finish, and the touch ring. But I will say that, like, had Sam Sheeran not been on the pitch, I don't think he turns like that, because Sam Sheeran, that was at the point where Sheeran could barely walk, so he got to him quite easy. But taking nothing away from the finish, it was a great finish. But what I will also say, Chris, is if you watch the goal back, look where Joe Day stood.
I was literally just about to say, I think Joe Day's had a bit of a mare in his positioning.
Oh, it's awful. Absolutely awful. But yeah, Sean, it was a good finish. It was a good finish.
Why ain't Ryan Broom being played then?
He's not been good enough, mate. When he's been on the pitch, he's not been good enough.
Isn't Day your goalkeeping coach?
Yeah, so
he's our goalkeeping coach, and he'll probably wash the kit once or twice. So
fair play to him.
He's sure
multitasking.
We sent it. Obviously, Owen Evans got injured last season. Joe Day come in, and let's not bet, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. But when Owen Evans went out in January, the performances started to drop a bit, positioning problems. He's a great shot stopper, but if you watch a lot of the goals we do concede, his position is not great, and that one yesterday was definitely not great. I've said all summer, Cheltenham needed another number one. Mamadou Diallo is going to be a top goalkeeper. He showed at Cardiff what he's about, but he needs to go in and get regular games at maybe Conference North level, just to be iterated by men a bit, and feel what it's like. You can't, if Day got injured, I would worry having a 17-year-old in goal, but that's another thing.
That's mental that you've even he's your backup keeper as well.
Yeah,
obviously you don't mind youngsters coming in, but when it's a goalkeeper, I think it's a horrible position to be so young and have that sort of responsibility.
Well, I was hoping. Was it Jed Steer you had on? Not Jed Steer. It was the one you had on loan from Bristol Rovers last season.
Oh, he's at Yeovil, isn't he?
Yeah,
Jed Ward.
That's it. No, not Jed Steer. Jed Ward. I was kind of hoping we was going to go and get him. Whether he was going to come in.
For me, he's a League Two keeper. I'm really surprised Yeovil got him, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to Yeovil. I just genuinely thought he was going to be going to a level above.
Yeah, no, agreeing. So, Chris, do you think that Cheltenham should be? There's a goalkeeper there in the moment without a team, and that's Jamal Blackman. I've
seen him in all the the PFA lineups, and I'm constantly thinking to myself, that's a goalkeeper that Cheltenham could really, really do with. He's a number one. He's a decent keeper. He's played at a good level. He's experienced. He ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, also in his interview, he turns around and says that Scott Bennett looks like he's injured again.
Yeah, he was. From what I saw, I think Scott Bennett will be out for at least a couple of weeks again. Injuries for centre backs this season is something that is a bit of a contentious issue for us. We've got Wilson coming back. Mazionis will be it should be fine for next Saturday.
That was my next question. Go on, Dave.
Is Cundy playing at the moment, or is he still injured?
It's a funny one. They said all the scans have come up and shown there's nothing wrong, but I think Michael Flynn has mentioned that it's more of a mental thing with Cundy.
Yeah, Flynn alluded to it being a mental thing.
Excellent.
He's saying he's still feeling something, but there's nothing wrong.
Well, no disrespect, but if it's mental and he's at Cheltenham on the bottom of the league, that's going to finish him off, isn't it?
Of course it is. He's obviously one of these ones you've had, because when he plays regular, people say he's like Dave just said, he's a
classy ball playing centre back.
Yeah, and I've seen him a few times, and he's really good, but he just can't seem to stay fit. And I'm just wondering now, because he's in his head that I can feel something in my hamstring. It's not actually there, but he's too scared to get out. Apparently, Goodwin, who we sold for almost $500,000 to Oxford in the sale as a centre, by the way, because he's only played like 5 minutes since we sold him. Apparently, he used to turn up to training and he used to say to the manager and go, "Can I sit out today? I can feel something." But again, a mental thing. He was worried he was going to get injured. But again, I'm not gonna go in on him, because mental health is mental health, and if it's something you're worried about being injured and all that, but it's not helping Cheltenham. You mentioned Wilson's back next week, which is great news. He'd still been able to train as well, obviously fitness wise, because he only broke his hand. He mentioned there's a behind closed door friendly to give him minutes, but one thing I don't think Michael Flynn helped himself on, Chris, was Mazionis. We had two injuries. Yesterday. Both our centre halves, and Mazionis is in on the thing, because Cheltenham got 7 loans, by the way. Tane Anderson's out injured, so we've only got 6. You can only have 5 in your match day. Yep. Now, he says, he's just come back from international duty, but so did Joe Colwell, and so did Arcadieu Boyd last season at Salford, and he played him in the first half and took him off on about 60 minutes. Now, what's your thoughts on Mazionis being left out when you're fragile at the back?
I said in our group chat that it was a surprise to me that he wasn't on the bench. I didn't think he'd start, but I definitely thought he'd be on the bench. It's a managerial decision. At the end of the day, the manager's got to take responsibility for that decision, and it was the wrong decision for me. But
right. So, quick question for everybody before we move on. Next week, do you think it's going to be Michael Flynn's last game, and why, Sean?
I don't know, really. I mean, if they lose, should it be? Realistically, yes. But I don't like. Obviously, Cheltenham seem quite patient at the moment, don't they, with him? So it's it's a hard one, but hopefully not.
So we'll keep the negative ones first. So Dave, what's your thoughts? Do you think can you see Michael Flynn lasting next week if they lose to Oldham?
I can. I think I can see him staying a bit longer. To be honest, I think they seem to be giving him time, and that seems to be I don't know who makes the decision. Garlic, presumably, but I don't know. It's he's definitely on a tightrope, isn't he? But hopefully he picks up a point and just does enough to keep him in the job for a bit longer.
Chris?
I think he'll be lucky to see September out.
Okay. And I think next week's his last game if Cheltenham lose. I generally do. I just because of the interview yesterday, he's beat. I think he's run out of ideas. I don't think he knows how to turn it around. Because some of the answers he's given, like when you start going, I'm not stepping over the white line, that tells me you've lost ideas of how to turn it around. So yeah, I generally think I hope he stays. I don't want to see any manager get sacked. We're not talking Premier League here, where they're on millions of pounds a year. We're talking about people making a living in the Football League. They're paid well, but they're making a living, and I don't want to see anybody get sacked. But at the end of the day, the biggest picture here is Cheltenham staying in the Football League. So anyway, let's go on to just a quick one. I don't want to spend too much on it, and then we'll go on to the predictions for next week. Ticket prices, a big concern within the football family, not just Cheltenham, Forest Green, Gloucester. We're talking about the Football League. Fans now starting to ask questions. One thing that's been on the topic is how much fans are paying for games. Now, we've asked the guys to do a bit of searching around their clubs, what the dearest ticket prices is and what the cheapest ticket prices is. We'll start off with Forest Green. Seated tickets at Forest Green, Sean, £23, £19.
Yeah.
23 quid and £19 standing. Forest Green fans happy with that sort of pricing? Do you think that's a fair level for National League?
To be honest, yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Obviously, if you buy them on the day, it goes up £3. But I think that's really to try and, because obviously we're a cashless stadium, that's really to try and get people to buy them in advance and, not on the day. But I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
19 quid.
So
Savage ball, mate. Anyone.
So 26 quid if you buy on the day. So if you're a family working all week and you go, I can't go Saturday because we're doing something, so it falls through and you go, right, we're going £26. Do you think that's a fair price for National League football?
26 quid.
26 quid?
No, I mean, I would say it's borderline. I mean, I've complained about ticket prices in League Two. when we used to go to places like, I think it was like Newport. 26, yeah, it's way too much. I mean, 23, I mean, for me, I don't know. Everyone's in a different boat, but 23, I think that's probably not far off what we're paying when we go to away games. So I think it's about average.
Yeah. So Dave,
I would like to see it about 20 though,
yeah, I was going to say, I'll ask after what you
for
guys
home and away.
should be plenty. Dave, Gloucester City. So we're talking Southern Premier, and it's £16 on the day, or you can buy £13 in advance. Do you think that's just fair pricing for Southern League level?
Yeah, I think so. There's a few in our division who are a bit cheaper, a few are more expensive, but it's just the thing, isn't it? I mean, I'm more than happy to pay. I think it's value for a afternoon's entertainment. When yesterday morning, I went to Ultimate Warrior because it's my little girl's birthday, and that was like 15 quid for an hour for a kid to jump around on a trampoline. So I don't think 13 quid. Most people pay 13 quid, and I don't think that's bad at all, really. And also, that once you're in, you can go wherever you want, so that includes seating as well. So I think it's good value, personally.
Yeah. And Cheltenham Town, Chris, which I think our prices are disgusting, and this is an average in League Two, and this is what's got the questions going now. If you buy a ticket in advance at Cheltenham, seating in the Colin Farmer stand is £27.50.
Wow.
On the day, it's £29.50, and I'll get into the reason why it's 50 in a minute. Terracing, it's £19-20 on the day, and again a £19-20 in advance, and an extra £2 on the day. Now, £29.50 for League Two football, Chris, is literally pricing fans out of football. Surely
It's disgusting, mate. Absolutely disgusting.
That's surprising. I didn't realise it was that
Yeah,
expensive.
it is disgusting. I've done a little bit of research on this, and with Robbie Savage being on the last pod, one of his former clubs, Blackburn Rovers, I can get a seat, might I add, in the 5th row of their stand for £15 in the Championship against Ipswich next week. £15 in the Championship, and we are
You going?
charging. I might do, actually. We are charging 29 quid for someone to go and watch League Two football that is atrocious at the moment. We've got to take the football out of it, obviously, because, but even so, even if it was free-flowing, outstanding football, it's £29.50 is too much money.
Yeah.
At League Two.
No, it is. And I think at one point it's going to go bang, and the clubs are going to price fans out, go in, because they're relying on Sky money and stuff like that. And with Sky now showing more games, fans go, I'll sit at home. And are Sky paying enough in League One and League Two for them to afford to lose 1,000 fans? I don't know. I know that the Sky TV deal's about £1 million, but it's robbing fans left, right, and centre. And
the problem is the lower you go down the pyramid, the more the clubs actually need the money.
Yes,
it's like you've got clubs at the top, which the money that comes through the turnstiles is incremental income because they've got huge revenue streams elsewhere, be it Sky Telly or their merchandising, etc., and the catering in the ground. Whereas clubs, especially when you get down to the Southern Prem, I mean, like, it'd be lovely to say, like, you shouldn't pay more than the tenner, really, should you, to watch Southern League football? But
yeah,
why would you charge it when everybody else is charging 13, 15 quid? You'd just put yourself at a huge disadvantage, and you wouldn't be able to be competitive. So I think it's the clubs. I feel a bit sorry for them because they've really got no choice, and it's like the question is, if Gloucester City made it a tenner to get in, would we really get more through the gate? I don't think we would. We might get a few more. I don't. But we've got the fact we do a family ticket for. I think it's you probably might have it written down because
30 quid. I think it is. 30 quid. I think it is.
No, it's 20 or 20. It's 22 quid, I think, for 2 adults, 2 kids.
I might have got that wrong. I thought it was £30. I thought it was if you had 2 adults, 2 under 18s, you can get for £30, but I might be wrong.
That's pretty good value. But yeah, it should be cheaper. But if it was, I don't think you'd get more through the gate, and everybody else would be still charging what they charge, and you'd be putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. So
Yeah.
got a millionaire chairman. Like there was one club in our division. Think it was Brackley, who've got a very rich owner, who were giving a free season ticket if you made a donation to their food bank at the start of the season.
Wow.
I mean, it's like literally you could have a season ticket for a tin of beans.
We should do that, and if you pay towards the washing or helping the washing, you get a free season ticket.
Buy some washing powder.
Anyway,
our season tickets are 300. I think I paid 357, so it's about 15 quid a game.
Yeah, I was a 210 early bird, so
I paid 387 for mine, and that's a seating one, which I'm not, which is I'm happy with. But just to touch on why it's £29.50 or £27.50 at Cheltenham, I was told, and this is gospel, had we made that ticket prices a 3, i.e. £30, there would have been uproar. There's uproar now. It's £29.50. So
I find it quite annoying when it's like a stupid amount, to be honest.
Yeah.
If who cares if it's going to be £29.50? Just make it 30 quid. You're just going to hand over three £10 notes, aren't you?
I'm trying to find the ticket prices for Braintree because we played them the other. I think I got it. So we played them the other week, and for an adult ticket to Braintree, it was £20.94p.
That's random.
And an OAP was £15.71p. An under 18 was £10.47. And an under 12 was £5.24. Now, if you can get your head around why they do it like that,
it's blatantly done on some algorithm with profit margins.
I thought it was like a misprint, but you can't misprint on 4 prices.
It was. I can't answer for them, but I know definitely Cheltenham was. They didn't want it to come out and go £30 for a ticket on the day. 29 still seeing people looking. Oh, we're still in the 20 mark, but it's too much. Anyway, right, Sean, what would you say? And we're talking for a National League. What would you say a fair price is on a match day?
I would say about 20 quid.
20 quid,
like all in. I don't think it should matter if you stand or sit, because some people generally can't stand. So obviously I started sitting because I was taking my 2 boys and they couldn't stand for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just think just call it 20 quid. I think that's a fair price.
Yeah. Dave, what would you say at Southern League?
I think we got about right, to be honest. I think it keeps under the 15. I mean, it is 16 if you turn up on the day. I think about 15 quid is a fair price, to be honest, for an adult. Our under 12s are free. So if you bring in a young family, then, you're not paying for them. I think we got it about right, to be honest.
Okay. Chris?
I mean, I'd go somewhere along the lines of £22.50 if you want to keep that 50p in there. Yeah, somewhere around there would be a fair price.
Okay, and I would say for Cheltenham, I think 20 is plenty. I think it should be £30 Championship, should be 25 League One, and £20 League Two.
It's so much easier if it was set, wouldn't it, by a higher body that just said, right, if you're in the Premiership, you charge this. If you're in the Championship, you charge this as a maximum.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, I'm obviously conscious because Sean's got to go, so let's go on to predictions next week. But before we do that, Chris, do you want to just do a quick roundup on the local resorts?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Let's go around the grounds. We'll start in the Western League Premier Division, where Oldland Apatonians drew 2-2 with Ivybridge Town. That leaves them 16th in the league table. Next up for Oldland is Clevedon away on Wednesday. In the Southern League Premier South, Yate Town had a Saturday off with no game, but they face Dorchester away next week. Down a level to the Southern League Division 1 South, where Bishop's Cleeve also had a Saturday off with no game. They've got their FA Trophy second qualifying round against Fareham Town next up. Hartpury University won 3-1 against Sporting Club Inkbarrow, which takes them up to 4th in the league. And next up for Hartpury is their FA Trophy second qualifying round tie at Portishead next Saturday. Staying at the same level, but over to the Western League Division 1, where Bitton lost 2-0 away at Mendip Broadway, and that leaves Bitton third in the league, with AEK Boko at home on Tuesday. And Cadbury Heath won 2-0 at home to Welton Rovers, which means they're now 13th in the league and have a trip to Longwell Green Sports on Tuesday. Finally, the Hellenic Premier Division, where results from the county's teams saw Fairford win 4-2 away at Hereford Pegasus. Also away was Slimbridge, who won 4-1 against Highworth Town. Long Levens hosted Hullen in a 3-0 win. Lydney Town were at home to Royal Wootton Bassett Town, which also ended 3-0. To the hosts, Thornbury hosted Cribbs to a 2-2 draw. Tuffley Rovers lost 2-1 at home to Pershaw Town. And there was a county derby with Cinderford facing off against Mangotsfield, which finished in a 0-0 draw. And that's the roundup from the grounds. Back over to you, Dan.
Brilliant.
Fascinating stuff, Chris. Thanks.
It was. No, it's nice to give some local sides some airtime. Sean, last week's predictions. What was the scores on the doors?
Well, I think looking at what did we say it was? Correct result was 1 point, and correct score was 3 points.
Yes.
So yeah, looks like I'm on 1 point and you boys are on 0.
I knew I should have got you to do this, Dave.
But I think the only point I got was the Crawley game. I put 3-1 Crawley. Obviously, you all went for a Cheltenham win, I think.
Yeah. So Sean's top of the league at the moment after week 1. So let's get on to the predictions for next week. So next week's game, Cheltenham are at home to Oldham, head-to-head, played 14. Cheltenham wins 4, Oldham wins 5, and draws 5. Oldham have won their last 2. Cheltenham have obviously lost yesterday, but have drawn and won. How do you see this game going, Chris?
Well, it's the return of Tom Pett, isn't it? They've got some good players. Manny Month at centre back, and Hannon is also dangerous. It's got 0-0 written all over it. Oldham have only conceded 5, and they've only scored 5. We won't talk about how many we've conceded, and we don't look like scoring many at all. I'm going to go with a 1-0 defeat.
1-0 defeat. Okay. Sean?
Is it Cheltenham?
It's at Wadham Road, yeah.
I'll go 2-1 Oldham.
Dave?
On the grounds that it seemed to work last week for you two, I'm going to go for a 1-0 win Cheltenham.
Okie dokie. I'm going to go with, I think Oldham, I think they struggle to score goals. Their chances created are actually quite good. But I think they struggle to score. I think their last 2 wins have been 1-0. I'm going to go a 1-1. I'm going to try and stay positive because it's at home. I'm going to go 1-1. The last time we met was in January 2025, 24 rather, and we lost 2-0. On to Forest Green. So Forest Green have got Woking away. Quite a tough one, I think, this one for Forest Green. Sean, head-to-head, you played 25 times. Woking have won 12. Forest Green have won 7 and 6 draws. Last season was 1-1, and away was also 1-1. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I was just having a little look at the season so far. Their results have been really weird. I mean, they've lost 3-0 to Hartlepool, but then smashed Gateshead 5-0. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, Forest Green.
Dave?
We've drew yesterday, so I don't think we draw 2 on the bounce.
I think I overestimated Forest Green last week, 6-0. So this week I'm going to go Forest Green 5-0.
He's going to keep saying it now to the gets one right, isn't he?
Mate, it's only around the corner, I'm telling you.
Chris?
I'm going to go Forest Green 3-0 win.
Yeah, Woking sit 18th in the table, -2. They've won 2, drew 2, lost 5. They've got a good record against Forest Green. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to stay a draw. I can't see Forest Green losing, but just because of their record, I'm going to go with what the results were last week, and that was a 1-1. On to Gloucester City. They go down to a nice part of the world. They're away at Weymouth. This one's an interesting one, Dave.
It is, yeah.
I had to ask you to send some details through because I couldn't find it. But when you sent it through, I was actually gobsmacked at how many head-to-heads you've had.
Yeah, we played them for 40. Well, I think the details I gave you.
40 times.
Yeah, 40. So 41 now. So that was before the latest game. So it was reasonably even. But we have played them a lot over the years in the Southern League.
The last time you played them on record was 2014. Which if that's correct on here, you've played 14. There's been 13 wins, 13 draws, and 14 losses, with 59 goals for and 64 against. So with only a -5, it's a very, very tight game between these two. They're struggling, same down towards the bottom, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And you're second. Did you see the game going?
Who knows? I'm going down on the Friday, staying the weekend, coming back Sunday, making a weekender of it. So hopefully the weather's nice. I think we should win. And I'm tempted to predict we don't win to make us win, because I'm invariably going to be wrong, but I can't bring myself to. So I'm going to go a 2-0 win for City.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I think Gloucester are going to want to bounce back after their last minute defeat yesterday. I've gone for a 3-1 win for Gloucester.
Sean?
I'll go with 2-0 Gloucester.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a Gloucester win. I think Gloucester are going to now win 2-1. Yeah, sadly, I don't like predicting you guys to do well, but well, that's a good.
You and me both, Dan.
That's a good place to leave it.
Sean's ready to walk out the door by the look of it.
One's got to go.
Oh, I got to get to Mom.
He's got his Arctic gear on.
Dave, thanks for joining us again.
Pleasure.
Chris, thanks for joining us.
Cheers all.
And Sean, as ever, thanks for co-hosting and joining us.
Yeah, cheers, mate. And Chris, thank you for reading off them local results.
Yeah,
no worries, mate.
Brilliant. You've done that well. Yeah. So thanks for listening. I am your host, Daniel Hopkins. On a weekend at Forest Green, off the top, despite a savage to salvage, City are out the cup after a late chippy tea delight. And it's no coincidence it's spider season, as the robins were running scared of the creepy crawlies.